What is up, guys? Welcome in to the Postgame Lounge. I'm not going to use the L word. Because this evening has already gone that poorly. That was certainly something. That was certainly a game of basketball that was played over 4 quarters against 2 teams in the National Basketball Association. I'm Harrison Wind. We are presented, of course, by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up at DraftKings Sportsbook. Joined alongside superstar Dev Johnson.
Honestly, nothing about that was fun. There was not one cheer in the bar throughout the whole game. Not even one time.
Yeah.
There was nothing fun about that. I can't believe that we had to endure that.
And I don't know if you guys can hear in the background, the soundtrack, the music going on at the bar right now, it sounds like a breakup that just happened after a high school dance or middle school dance. Appropriate music for the night.
Just super duper sad. This really did take me back to middle school or something like that, where it's just you're not going through anything that's really a problem, but it's enough of a problem for you to really feel it and to relate to the lyrics.
Man. Yeah, this was a rough one. Nuggets lose 135-111 to the Raptors in a game that really they were never in. There were points in this game, I'll admit, I get sucked into the Nuggets and the fact that they've had some mega comebacks before. They trimmed that lead to 17 or 18 points in the second half, and there was something telling me, okay, here we go. They can do this. But you could really tell, if you were being honest with yourself, just from the body language, the energy, the mentality that Denver kind of came out with tonight, that no, they weren't going to come back in this one.
Yeah, Nuggets fans have been spoiled for the last 2 years. You continue to think that they're going to come back on these miraculous type games, and they have that fight in them. And it's probably still there. It's not the playoffs or where it really matters. But it's also just really tough. But then at the same time, they just didn't have it tonight. They really didn't have it at all. And also, it's the second night of a back-to-back, and we have seen the Nuggets play really well on those back-to-backs, but this was not a time that they played well. So these are really scheduled losses that you're supposed to have and you could see coming. But with the Nuggets team that we know, they come back from games and they also show up on second nights of back-to-back. So it's tough when they have a game that they're supposed to lose, but then they lose in this fashion.
Yeah. So, well, obviously,
everyone thinks it. Everybody thinks it.
Yeah, the guy doesn't show up to a pregame show and a postgame show, and this happens. Not surprised in the least. So, I do actually want to talk about the game. I want to talk about the starting lineup that Denver used tonight for sure, and I'm probably going to get canceled on tonight's show again just for talking about Facu Campazzo's game. The people are going to cancel me. The chat's going to cancel me, even though I'm going to be right again about Facu Campazzo's game. First, though, I want to hit this right out of the gate. I've got it sitting here right to my left, and I'm going to put it on real quick.
It's time. Bring it out.
The conspiracy hat.
There it is.
Which has seen better days. It's a little funky, but the conspiracy hat is back, Dev. And I'm going to let off this conspiracy here.
I want to know what you have cooking under there. I'm ready for this one.
The Denver Nuggets and Michael Malone were instructed by Tim Connolly and GM Calvin Booth, who are both in Tampa Bay, by the way. Both Tim Connolly and Calvin Booth went on this road trip. They were instructed to get down big and have the fourth quarter be a showcase for Bol and RJ Hampton the night before the trade deadline. What do you think?
That's elaborate thinking. It really is elaborate thinking. But at the same time, it's something that you have to think about. It's something that's actually out there, because if you just take a look at the people that are on the trade block right now, some people they really want out of here. They push the envelope and they showcase themselves, and Bobo definitely showcased himself. Then there's people that really don't want to leave, and they play like shit tonight, and that's Will Barton. So maybe that is what they wanted to do. It's he didn't make it easier for himself, in no way, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, in a second. But for yours, Bobo did a very, very good job of showcasing himself on the way out, and I mean, it would be in Tim Conley's like evil plan if it does like go into that, because who looks at that game and doesn't think like, oh, there's something there. There's something.
I mean, Bol, 9 minutes, 7 points, 2 rebounds, and assist. I'm just gonna say this: there weren't many players who finished in the positives tonight. Bol, a +2. I mean, I don't think I'm crazy here. I'm obviously like being a little over the top, but look. I don't think it's nothing that they were able to play Bol and RJ Hampton. Hampton was in like the regular rotation tonight, so this is more with Bol. I don't think it's nothing that Bol was able to just get on the floor tonight and show maybe John Hammond, who the Nuggets got to be hope was watching tonight, the Magic GM, show that he can at least like get up and down the floor and do some stuff. 204 from the field. I don't think it's nothing that he got 9 minutes tonight, where on a lot of nights he just flat out wouldn't have played. So I don't know.
Yeah, and the funny thing is also Bobo was just excited to be out there. Like he's smiling the entire time. He doesn't care that they're getting obliterated at the moment. He's out there just to have fun. He's like, okay, things are going well for me. Maybe this is my chance to get out. Like you have to assume that Bobo wants out. Like he's not getting like any type of looks his way. There's no G League for him to actually go out there and do anything for like to try to showcase himself. This was his moment, and it went well for him. So I think that he's like, yes, thank you for this moment.
The dude was smiling ear to ear. He was, I guarantee you, the only Nugget that was smiling tonight when they were on the court. I can guarantee you that. The dude was happy. He was playing. He looked like he was having a ball out there. Maybe a swan song for him in a Nuggets jersey if he does get traded. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I am going to take this off now. That was fun. So Brendan Vogt's talking with Michael Malone and a couple players right now. I assume it will be a relatively short media session on a night like tonight. 24-point loss to the Raptors when the Nuggets were never in this. But he will join us momentarily. So like I was just saying a couple minutes ago, I want to talk about the starting lineup because that's really where this game, it felt like, got away from Denver just right off the bat in the first quarter when they were just run off the floor. The Nuggets stick with their same starting lineup: Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic. That's matched up against a small ball look from Toronto: Lowry, Van Vliet, Powell, Siakam, and OG Anunoby, who is really playing the 4. That seemed like it was going to be a recipe for disaster, and that's exactly what happened. Like, Toronto got a ton of open threes. They shot the heck out of the ball today. 24 of 48 from 3. I mean, you're just not going to win a game if a team shoots 24-48 from 3. But there were a lot of open looks. I don't know. It just felt like to me the Nuggets starting lineup couldn't keep up with that Raptors small ball look.
And it was also just not like a good look for the Nuggets, like completely. With Michael Malone in the last few games, we've seen him actually adapt to it. So Paul Millsap's not in the rotation because they went with a small lineup. Today he was like, I don't care, I'm going to just stick with this. So you have to think there was like some type of thought into it, because if not, then what is it, stubbornness or what would it be? Because we've already seen Michael Porter Jr. at the 4 has been the Nuggets' death lineup. We haven't, said that term in a while, but that's the death lineup for the Nuggets. And for them to not go with that, especially against a team that does not have like a traditional center or a way to like actually like match up with the Nuggets and provide that spacing, that's a way that you try to go with what you're going to go with in the playoffs. I mean, I don't understand why Paul Millsap was out there for so long, or actually like playing in this game, especially with him not playing much in the last game. Or
somehow Paul Millsap played 22 minutes tonight, which was more than he played last night against the Magic, and this is theoretically a worse matchup for him just based on like the small ball look.
It doesn't make any sense. And then on top of that, you play Will Barton, who's just out there missing shot after shot after shot. Like nothing about it was going well. And you could see it from like the opening, from the opening tip. He was trying to be aggressive, but he's not making any shot, and he just kept pressing the issue. And he didn't understand that it was not his night. Yeah. And you see a lot of that from Will Barton, So like if those two guys are not playing well, but then Jokic, Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are playing well, like get somebody else in there. Go with a different rotation, and you just didn't see that tonight. You've seen a lot of different lineups that Malone did try. It seemed like it was like at the beginning of the season when he's just out there trying lineups and trying to get something to go. And then you look at it, and it's March. It's the end of March, about to be April. Why are we still tinkering with lineups and trying to figure out who works with what parts? Like, I did not understand the rotations tonight.
So they do we want to get to this super chat, Allie? A super sticker.
We can't see it, but they can see it, so it's being described in written form.
Hippo character falling to the ground in a dramatic way, bursting into tears with the words "epic fail" in the background.
That makes sense.
I'm not completely blind yet. I could barely make that out from the monitor just
Thank
across
you,
the way.
Gordon.
Thank you,
glad
Gordon.
that you're here with us on this very, very rough
The
time.
real ones are here. If you're
are here.
in the chat right now, if you're watching, you're a real one. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Gordon, for sure. No, I was gonna say though. So I know we're ripping on the starting lineup. The starting lineup was terrible. They go to Porter at the 4 midway through the first quarter, immediately just score like 6 straight and kind of got back into it. And we were sitting here at the bar tonight looking at each other like, no, duh. Like, obviously, you go to Porter, you go to your money lineup against a small ball look like this. That's going to be a much better matchup. And sure enough, they got back into the game a little bit. But that lineup put them in a huge hole in the first quarter. And then, I got to say, I was a little surprised that lineup played most of the third together again. That starting lineup, so...
Yeah, I mean, they were better in the third quarter, but it's also like the momentum was already gone from you, and they already had such a big lead that it didn't matter anymore. Like you said, when Paul Millsap went out and Michael Porter Jr. went to the 4, things clicked. And I don't understand why you don't say, you know what, that has been working. That is something that I've been seeing that's been working, especially in a game that there wasn't many positives, and that was a positive moment in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, smash the likes on that video. Thank you, Austin, on this video. So, I mean, that lineup, it's with Porter at the 4, it's allegedly going to be the Nuggets starting lineup once Monte Morris gets healthy. I'm intrigued to see if that's actually what happens and follows through. Because, yeah, like, this lineup was not good tonight, the starting lineup. Denver's won some games with it, though. It's usually pretty good on offense, but... allegedly, Malone has said that they will return to the Porter at 4 look when Monte gets healthy. So, I mean, hopefully that's in the next couple games. I'm excited to see that for sure. What else do I have in my notes tonight? So, like, look, Toronto, like I mentioned earlier, 24-48 from 3.
Scorching hot.
You are just not going to win a game against any team that shoots 24-48 from 3. Like, it's just not going to happen.
I read somewhere that it was like a franchise record. So
I'm sure.
The Nuggets
I hope
are
it is.
in the history books. They're in the record books right there with teams that are just having lights out like games against them. And then that's something that has to be addressed. Why are teams able to shoot the hell out of the ball from deep for the Nuggets for the last 5 years, 6 years, or however long it's been? The Nuggets are the team that you could get your 3-point shot going against and get right. They're good get right spot because there's not much defense going on there. There's nothing that you could do against a team that's shooting like that. They score like 72 points in the first half. Mm-hmm. It's just free willing. Like, you could do whatever you want out there.
Yeah. It was a crazy shooting night from them. A lot of those threes were open, though, and a lot of that had to do with just the Nuggets' effort wasn't there tonight. Their energy wasn't there tonight. But also, to start off the game, to start off the third quarter, the OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam front court, that is just a nightmare matchup for a Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic front court. There's probably not many duos in the league of starting front courts that are worse matchups for Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic. They just can't chase an Anunoby and Siakam like duo all around the three-point arc. It's just not what Paul Millsap and Nikola Jokic are meant to do.
Yeah, just a perfect blend of defense and speed. And Siakam, when he gets himself going, that's an all-star. Like, he's one of the better players in the league. And then when everybody already knows what you get in Anunoby. Like, he's gonna bring it on defense. He's gonna bring the intensity and the energy. And tonight, like, the three-pointers was shot like falling. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that's tough. If you have Anunoby go 5 of 9 from the three-point line, and then also you have to step out because it's a small lineup and you have to push Jokic to try to get out to the perimeter because Pascal's making threes. what really can you do? Like, everything was falling everywhere against the Nuggets. There was no resistance at all, especially like trying to like stop the rush. And then you put everybody in like compromising like spots, and that's hard to try to like get around.
Yeah. All right, let's hit our first break real quick. Brendan Vogt will be joining us in a few minutes. I'm sure. I can't imagine this will be a terribly long post-game media session from Michael Malone and the Nuggets players. And we also got a lot more to talk about from this game, like, to be honest. We'll talk about the big threes nights. We'll talk about Will Barton's bad game. I'm going to get canceled for talking about Facu Campazzo again, so stay tuned for that. First, though, make sure to check out the Mile High City Copper Lager. This beautiful can of beer right here. You can't miss it. It's got that Nuggets Skyline blue can. You can pick it up at your local liquor store. You can pick it up at the Breck Brew Farmhouse. We drink these while watching Nuggets games. It's part of our daily routine. So you can't pick out a better beer to watch during Nuggets games. Check out the Mile High City Copper Lager from Breck Brew. You can pick it up anywhere. Also, if you guys have not checked out Gabby Insurance, it's an absolute game changer. Gabby Insurance saves their customers an average of $961 per year on their insurance. What you need to do is go to Gabby.com, Gabi.com/DNVR. Gabby.com/DNVR. You plug in all your insurance info, what your home insurance is, your auto insurance, and Gabby will run what you're paying against 40 of the top insurance providers like Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers, and literally just spit out how much money you can be saving a month if you move over your insurances to different ones that can save you money. It's an awesome tool. A lot of us here at DNVR are saving a lot of money monthly, annually from using it. And a really cool part about Gabby is they're not going to sell your insurance. So when you enter your data in there, you're not going to get hit up with robocalls and whatnot from people trying to sell your insurance. Check out Gabby at Gabby.com/DNVR. Plug in all your info. Start saving money. Again, Gabby customers save $961 per year on average, and they will never sell your info. No annoying spam or robocalls. All right, we're back here on the DNVR Nuggets post-game show. We're presented, of course, by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up. Harrison Wind, Superstar Dev Johnson. When we're looking at the Nuggets point totals tonight, the big three absolutely carried them. And look, it wasn't a good night for the Nuggets. I hit the Michael Porter Jr. over. His over was 16.5. He got 19 points. That might have been the only thing I hit tonight. Did you hit anything?
I think Jamal might have been at 19.5.
He was either at 19.5 or 20.5.
Yeah, that's the spot that I'm actually like stuck on. But I mean, that's not a game. Like, no one actually played well, so it makes it really tough, like, to do anything. Michael Porter Jr., he shoots lights out, and you would hope that they try to put him in more sets to get him like going and try to get like a flow for him. So that was a bright spot, was like to see him like knock down the three ball. But other than that, there really was not much going for Denver, and that makes it really hard to try to beat a team when they have everything going and you don't have much going.
So it was good to see Porter knocking 5 of 6 threes. He looked bad defensively tonight, though. This was a step back for Michael Porter Jr. defensively. We've been preaching on this show how he's been growing as a defender, and that's been very real, but he was not good defensively tonight. Look, really nobody on Denver was. I thought Jamal Murray actually had a pretty decent game. 20 points, 8 of 17 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. He was aggressive in spots, 7 assists, only 1 turnover for him. I felt like throughout the first half, when Denver was pretty much behind by 20, he was really the only bright spot. I felt like he had a pretty good performance, all things considered, tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say that he kept him in the game because this was not a game whatsoever. But he did get off to like a nice flow and rhythm, and
the vibes at the bar, they were terrible the whole night. I don't know. A switch just got flipped, though.
That was quick, right in there. It was Jamal Murray. We started talking about heating up and getting up. You start talking about Jamal Murray, and things happen. He did shoot the ball like from 3 well. He still has to work on that efficiency. Like, just he's taking a lot of shots and a lot is not falling. So I don't know if it's legs or just being on the second night of a back-to-back. He also got his assist up. So yeah, that was a bright spot for the Nuggets. If you try to find anything.
Yeah, I mean, the big three combined for 40-59 of 111, and they didn't even play, like, the fourth quarter. Although Jamal Murray was out there for, like, most of the third. And I was like, wait, why is Jamal Murray still out there?
It was probably Malone just saying, you were, like, the only one that was doing anything tonight. Like get you some minutes.
Maybe he wanted to be out there.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about this during the game. He always gets up for games against Toronto.
Yeah.
I was going to say in Toronto, but it's in Tampa Bay.
That's a place that he truly does love. And I feel like at some point in his career, he'll want to try to get there, even if it's on a 1 year.
Oh, Dev, don't say that. I got to get you the conspiracy hat for that take. But yeah, I mean, we know Jamal's a big Toronto guy. Vince Carter's like his hero, so
yeah.
He always usually gets up for Raptors games. Maybe he just wanted to play a little more. So the big three, I think I actually have it here. They were responsible for 59, I think, of what was 84 points at one point before the game kind of got away from Denver. Or, I mean, it really got away from them the whole night. But before garbage time really set in the fourth quarter, it was something like 59 of 84 points that the big three was responsible for. And a glaring stat line tonight, Will Barton, 23 minutes, 0 of 8 from the field, 0 of 8, 0 of 3 from 3, 0 points, a team worst minus 20 in 23 minutes tonight. Was this just a terrible game all around from Barton, or was part of it that the deadline is tomorrow and maybe some thoughts about that were creeping into his head, do you think?
I mean, I think this was fate. This was fate.
Ooh.
Everybody wants him out of here. And he, like, really did show up. Like, he showed them exactly the things that they've been frustrated about. And you got to see the bad Will Barton. He doesn't make any shots. He keeps shooting. On defense, he's not, like, doing anything at all. And I don't know how you look at that game and think, yes, we should keep him around. Like, with the trade deadline being tomorrow, you know, like, you don't look at a game like that where you go 23 minutes, 0 points, and you have no bright spots at all. There was not a single moment in the game for Will Barton that you think, yeah, like, this is working out. So this was fate. I really do think that this was like, okay, like, let's just do it. Let's just get it out of the way.
It was not good at all. Definitely one of, like, the worst games of his career. And look, he had open shots, but he just was not hitting at all tonight. Another guy, and here we go.
Hold on. Before you get started, I just got to say something to our Argentinian followers who are in the comments. Solo porque están hablando en español no significa que no hay alguien que entiende lo que están diciendo en el chat. Tranquilícense. Les voy a poner en timeout o les voy a block si no paran de decir malas cosas de ellos o del equipo. Tranquilícense.
Thank you, Allie. I can only guess that you were just telling everybody not to cancel me tonight.
I'm just telling everyone to calm down. Just because they're writing in Spanish doesn't mean there aren't people here at DNVR who are reading what they're saying.
Yes.
And I'll block you or put you in timeout. Y'all need to calm down.
See, I thought things were doing fine. And
Spanish comments are...
Yeah, nothing like a loss to the Raptors on the second night of a back-to-back, the night before the trade deadline, against maybe Kyle Lowry's last game in a Raptors uniform to really get Nuggets fans riled up.
That was impressive Spanish, man. I need to learn a different language. I only know 2 languages, you know, Ebonics and English. So I need to learn, like, at least one more to just put me over that hump. So I get that.
Serbian might be a good option.
Serbian. See, you are.
I am Serbian,
yep,
so I definitely need to add some. There it goes.
Okay, all the Argentinians are now saying we are calm. All right, just chill in the chat a little bit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Tranquilícense un poquito.
Well, sorry, guys. I'll just say it. Facu was not good tonight. Minus 20 off the bench for Denver, which was the worst number off the bench. 2 of 6 from the field. He did hit 2 threes, Both of those kind of came when the game was already decided, though. Look, I just didn't think he was good. A bunch of open threes. He had that layup that was through traffic that really had no chance. Comes down the other end. Norman Powell takes him into the post. Takes advantage of that mismatch. I just didn't think he was good. Just not one of his better nights.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Campazzo, it's not that he has to score because he can affect the game in so many different ways. But at some point, you got to knock something down and you got to become an offensive threat, or you're just really a liability out there. And I think a lot of times they use him as a liability, and this is a night that you'll see it. And this is what a lot of people try to say is going to come in the playoffs, because there are the moments.
A lot of people, as in me.
No, there's people that are not Facu people. I think that Facu has a role. And he answers things that the Nuggets need, but at the same time, there's a lot of questions around him, because if he's not he's not a shooter, but he's always in that corner spot to knock down the shot. Mm-hmm. But if it's not consistently falling, what is the defense doing? Because they're not adjusting. And tonight he does hit the 2 threes, but at the same time, he would have already been unplayable at that point. If it was a playoff situation, he would not have been able to take those shots because he would have already been out of there. They're starting to try to attack him. That was a game that I felt like they did try to attack him and try to put him in ISO situations, especially Norman Powell. And then on the offensive end, he's not setting guys up for shots. Nobody's really making shots, so take that with a grain of salt. But these are the games that you start to see the glaring issues with Facu, and it makes it hard to try to defend him, because he's not playing well right now, and he has not been playing well offensively for the last week or two.
Yeah. He's been setting guys up well, but he just hasn't been hitting shots. And look, he's going to be wide open for 3 to 4 3-pointers per game if he's playing these types of minutes. If he's playing around 20 minutes, he's the guy defenses are going to leave open. And to your point about, the corner threes, I said this on last night's show. Facu has been a great shooter from the corners this season. He's been elite from the corners. He's shooting 60% from the left corner, 47% from the right corner. The only problem is he's taken a combined 30 corner threes, and he's taken 80 threes everywhere else, and he's shooting 28% on those threes from everywhere else. So that's the problem right now. Defenses are leaving him open on non-corner threes. He's missing those, and that's really what's hurting his offense. But I don't want to dwell too much on it, even though we just spent 5 minutes on it. I don't want to dwell anymore on it. He had a bad game. A lot of guys on the Nuggets roster had a bad game tonight. Somebody who I thought did some good things was PJ Dozier. Logged 20 minutes, hit a couple threes. Here it is again. This is another game where PJ Dozier makes his threes. He's maintaining his 40% clip from 3. Those were the only 2 shots he made tonight, but 6 points. I don't know. I thought I did some okay things.
Yeah, I wasn't high on the PJ game tonight. He's still just gunning, and he makes those 2 threes, but he goes 2 for 7. He's forcing a lot of shots. I feel I don't feel like he's ever in the flow of the offense. And at the same time with the second unit, he has to take those shots and he has to put himself in it as a shot creator. But when they're not falling, it makes it really hard. He's a player that is going to be up and down all year, because when the shots are falling, it looks okay. When the shots are not falling, you're like, okay, that's a little tough. So with Dozier, I think that each time you're going to seesaw. You're going to be on the side, you're not going to be on the side. You're going to be on the side, and it's because a lot of it is predicated on the shots. Right.
So there were actually 2 big takeaways, I thought, from the Nuggets bench. Second unit, just who played and who didn't play. This was another Zeke Naji game. And yes, you can say, look, Toronto's really small ball look might have led the Nuggets to play Zeke Naji over Isaiah Hartenstein. But I don't know. I feel like this is more of just the Nuggets kind of really moving towards Zeke Naji over Hartenstein at that backup center spot. Is that what kind of your read on it is?
Yeah, and he actually, to start out the game, he made some great defensive one-on-one type plays where he's like pushing guys out, he's getting to his spots, he's forcing that extra pass. He does a lot of things that like pop out, not on the score, like on the stat sheets or on the scoreboard or anything like that, but it's a lot of reads, and like you could tell that the Nuggets want to go to him, and they love put him in these situations where he could learn on the fly, but also not be a huge part of it. So like, that's what you see.
Zeke was probably the Nuggets' best matchup, or probably had a couple of the Nuggets' best defensive possessions on Pascal Siakam.
Yep.
In that first half, he had some very strong defensive possessions in that first half on Siakam.
Yeah, but at the same time, the shot again is not falling.
True.
It's not falling at all, and he keeps shooting them. Also, he goes 0 for 4 tonight. But at least he's battling and getting to like he got 7 boards in the game. He has the defensive like things going for him. So like at least in his bad games, there's other things that you could like rely on and you could take away, as opposed to these other players that when they're having a bad game, it's just that's it. It's just a bad game. There's nothing that you could take away from it. Plus, you got to remember he's a rookie that's really just learning on the fly, and he gets put in a situation where he's guarding all-star, and he shows like some bright spots and some positive moments. So that's not a bad Zeke Naji game for me. And he also gets to the free throw line. Very aggressive.
Yeah. I thought the rebounding stood out for him, and that's the big thing with Zeke Naji. If he's going to play the backup 5, he's got to rebound. And 7 rebounds in 19 minutes, that's good. He had a good rebounding game last night against the Magic as well. So I really just think things are trending. And obviously, we'll see what happens at the trade deadline. Maybe the Nuggets are trading for JaVale McGee. And if JaVale McGee supplants Zeke Naji as the Nuggets backup center, I guess I can understand that. But I'm a guy who said, for this really last few months that Zeke Naji needs to be playing because he deserves rotation minutes, I feel like. So we'll see. We'll see what the trade deadline holds. The other big point about Denver's bench, RJ Hampton played actual rotation minutes. Mm-hmm. So he was in health and safety protocols for a while, like through the All-Star break. He's been active these last couple of games, but hasn't played. Tonight, he gets in early in the second quarter, his first game since February 27th, so in around a month. Do you think RJ Hampton will be in the Nuggets rotation post-trade deadline? I know I'm asking you to project what the Nuggets do at the deadline, but do you think there's a chance he's playing real minutes on a night-to-night basis after tomorrow?
I mean, make no mistake about it. This was like this was deliberate to put him in the game and to put him in the game early and to try to showcase him, because a guy doesn't play for a full month, and he's actually been able to play these last couple of games. Like, this is not the first game that he has been back to the rotation. This is the first game that he's actually been able to play. And it's because, like, in people's mind is going to be what's the fresh. How did he look, like, in the last moments? And you don't think about that he's been gone for a month because the deadline's tomorrow. So it's like, okay, our guy came back. He shows some defensive plays. We put him in situations where he had to defend out on the wing on an island all by himself. He's one of the quickest guys, super athletic. They tried to put him in positions to, like, succeed. Yeah. So I do think that he'll be part of, like, the pitching of things. But if the Nuggets stay pat, then RJ Hampton is a player that they do feel comfortable with. So I'll say, yes, he is a part of the rotation, not to the capacity of playing a whole lot, but he will be a part of that second unit at times, because you have to, like, hope if the Nuggets do not make a decision that Gary Harris does come back and Monte Morris does come back. So you have to, like, actually push, like, the second unit has to get smaller, and RJ Hampton be a guy that's, like, on the fringe. He can play some minutes, but he also will sit a lot of the night. So I'll say yes and no to your answer.
All of that for yes and no.
Yes and no.
No, the crazy thing is I probably agree with you that it's yes on some nights and no on some nights, because I actually feel like part of the reason he played tonight, maybe it was a showcase, maybe you're right. I think part of the reason was because if you're looking for a guy on the Nuggets roster that can just inject some excitement, inject some energy into such a bleh game, it's RJ Hampton. So I wonder if Michael Malone was just like, God, I'm either gonna get 2 technicals, walk back to the team hotel, and, like, crack a Guinness, or I'm just going to see what RJ Hampton has. Maybe he can inject some energy into this game. That's what he tried to do at the beginning of the second quarter. I don't know. But I was going to give a game ball tonight, although I wasn't a fan of his lineup decisions, to Michael Malone for not getting ejected from this game. He's a better man than I am, because I don't think I could have watched.
Yeah, especially just everyone just getting like, that was a beating. That really was
a beating
by a team that they lost like 8 times in a row.
I think 9 in a row.
9 in a row, and then they lose to a team that lost 20 in a row. Like they're reeling. So for you to go out there and get embarrassed and blown out by that team, that's tough. Like I don't know what you make of it. So there's not a player that you could give like the player of the game. So sure we could give it to him.
Yeah. So yeah, like Dev said, an absolute beating by the 18-26 Raptors on the Denver Nuggets tonight. Time to panic? Nah, I don't think so. The Nuggets have now dropped 2 of 3. And here's the thing, though. They've dropped 2 of 3. Yes, it's the March malaise. The Nuggets are right in the thick of the March malaise, right before the trade deadline. And they've dropped 2 of 3 to the Magic, and then not the Magic. The New Orleans Pelicans, and then the Toronto Raptors. They've got the Pelicans again on Friday. A game after, these last 3 that I'm not terribly confident that they win. We know New Orleans is a bad matchup for them. Maybe, Aaron Gordon's playing in that game. I don't know. That is a better matchup for the Nuggets if that happens. The Pelicans aren't a great matchup for them. The Hawks, just based on how these last couple of games have gone, the Hawks on Sunday, I don't feel great about that one either. So this has quickly turned into what I thought was, potentially going to be a stretch where Denver rattles off like 5 or 6 straight wins into one where, they might be going like 500 over these 6 games.
Yeah, but the idea could be either they make a move and then they're like, we're refreshed and we're ready like to prove that this was a good spot, or they don't make a move and everyone like has that like off of their like shoulders, and they like try to prove a point that this is the team that have got us here. This is the team that was just like in the Western Conference Final just a year ago, and we're going to try to make a point. So I think regardless of what happens with the deadline, I think that they try to like revamp themselves and try to put themselves back in a situation of like realigning. Like, okay, either we made a move and we're going to get better, or we didn't make a move because this is our guys. So although you look at a game tonight and you think there's no way that we get back on the right track, I think that the Nuggets are a team that like just is like in prove it mode. That's when they like are at their best. And looking at those games, yeah, they're tough matchups, but I think that guys are just going to get themselves back together. So I think that those are games that they probably sweep on the wins.
You think they sweep them?
I think they sweep in the wins.
That would be nice. Yeah. Look, this is a loss. It's a bad loss. I think the Nuggets are still overall in a really good place. And look, they could be making an upgrade over, the next however many hours or so that further propels them on a really nice trajectory, which they've been on for really most of the last several months. So, maybe in 24 hours we're not even thinking about this loss and just thinking about how Aaron Gordon fits into the Nuggets scheme. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right, well, Brendan Vogt should be on his way back here shortly. Allie, if you want to message Vogt and tell him that I'm going into my second break right here, and that on the other side it would be cool if he came on the show. No rush, though. No rush, though.
I'll let him know. Let him know.
Gotta tell you guys about MSU Denver Online, the best online university in the land. I took a class with them last summer. It was a great experience. They have tons of different course options for you guys. You can take a course in any subject. You can get it taught to you by teachers who know how to teach online and who actually care about their students. You can check out their entire course list at msudenver.edu/online. They've got something for everybody if you're a first-time freshman or if you just need a couple credits to finish up your degree. MSU Denver Online is an awesome option. Also, the tournament is obviously in full swing, and make sure you're signed up on DraftKings Sportsbook. They got tons of great offers, including this one. Bet $1 on any tournament game, and if your team wins, you win $100. It's that simple. Turn $1 into $100 with DraftKings Sportsbook. It's 100 to 1 odds on your team to win. Just an awesome offer from DraftKings that you guys can take advantage of this weekend in the tournament. Make sure to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to turn $1 into $100. If the college basketball team of your choosing pulls off the win, that's code DNVR to turn $1 into $100. For a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook, must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. I see Brendan Vogt has taken his seat. Before we get to him, guys, also Strava Craft Coffee. Use code DNVR25 at StravaCraftCoffee.com for 25% off your order of Strava Craft Coffee. Packed with CBD, which has been known to help cure long-term migraines, back pain, arthritis, a slew of other aches and pains that you might be having. Use code DNVR25 at StravaCraftCoffee.com. All right, back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up. Joined now by Brendan Vogt, straight off the Nuggets Zoom press conferences. What was the mood in this one, Vogt?
3 different moods tonight. We heard from Michael Malone, Nikola Jokic, Paul Millsap, and just different perspectives, really. You know, more or less the same questions pumped out to each guy. To start with Malone, who did not go to the defense. He went to the effort. Said you can have a game plan. You can know what you want to do against a team, but if the energy and the effort is there, it doesn't matter. And he said that it wasn't there top to bottom tonight. He was not trying to make any excuses or hear any excuses about trade deadline anxiety, which was the key term of the night on the availability. In past weeks, Malone has talked about this grueling schedule, the testing, how difficult it's been. He didn't want to hear it tonight. And I thought that was sort of the most notable kind of thing from Malone. He said, if you look at Toronto, they've got guys in their locker room who have trade deadline anxiety right now as well. They went out there, they balled out, and we did not.
Yeah, that's a good point. We were talking about that. Like, did the trade deadline anxiety contribute to any guys' poor nights? Maybe. Like, that is a valid excuse, I think. Look, these guys are human. It would be totally stressful if, like, tomorrow I could have to go cover the Lakers in LA and I don't know about it. Can you imagine that? So that can be totally stressful. It's a totally logical excuse for sure. But I like the point that the Raptors also have that, and Kyle Lowry was a plus 42 tonight.
I mean, all these extenuating circumstances, virtually all of them apply to everyone in the league right now. It's been a weird year for everyone. So, but we also heard from Nikola Jokic, and he was also asked about trade deadline anxiety and if it's possible that it impacted any of his teammates tonight. He said he doesn't know if it did, but if it did, quote, "For me, it is unprofessional." Pretty blunt answer from Jokic. Basically just talked about you represent yourself first and then the team. And that if, there's always language barrier stuff with Jokic. It's never necessarily clear, but it sounded like to me, he said, you could go play for 29 other teams, but you're here and you're with the Nuggets. So for him, he didn't want to hear anything about that. He wanted guys that wanted to be there, and were focused. He was not buying the trade deadline anxiety. He called it unprofessional more than once. But also, to be clear, I don't know if he was charging his teammates with that so much as he was answering the question. But he doesn't think that should impact any players.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it obviously impacts everybody differently. Some guys are going to be able to deal with that stuff differently than others. So it's definitely a case-by-case basis. I'm going to side with the trade deadline anxiety.
Me too.
I'm going to side with the trade deadline anxiety. I think it's a real thing, and I think it's a totally logical excuse. The night before the deadline.
We've sort of joked about players not always growing into great coaches or owners because hey, why aren't you just as good as I was? I think there's a little bit of that with Yoke here. Like, he's really steely. I don't think he feels, affected by playoff pressure or deadline anxiety. But he's not everyone, and everyone is not him in this league. I say all that to say we then heard from Paul Millsap, who, look, this is a longtime veteran who's been around a lot of teams, a lot of players, and he kind of brought it back down to earth. He said, absolutely, it matters. I'm not going to sit here and say the trade deadline doesn't affect players. You've got families. You've got to relocate. But at the end of the day, we've got a job to do. More from Millsap. We're human beings, man. We're human beings. A lot of fans don't know that. It's part of the job description. It's the nature of the business. We're all grown men here, and we have to take what's given to us, but we're still human. And so, yeah, to answer the big question, do I think it mattered tonight? Sure. I absolutely think it impacted, guys on the court, but I also think Malone nailed it that Toronto was playing under that same pressure. And ultimately, the Nuggets lost this game because, for whatever reason, they did not come out like they wanted it. And that was just clear for 4 quarters.
From the opening tip.
From the jump.
From the opening tip. And we discussed the starting lineup and how that got Denver off to a really bad start. But, I mean, I don't really know in the end, how much it would have mattered if the Raptors were just going to shoot 50% from 3.
Paul said that, too. He was kind of the only guy who said, hey, let's give the Raptors a little credit. Obviously, the effort wasn't there 100% tonight. But Paul all but said, they just played the game of their season, I mean,
Did he actually say that?
He did not say that, but he said in more than one way, they were incredible tonight. Their game plan, the three-point shooting, the execution. So, obviously I'm paraphrasing a little here. A lot of that was Denver, but sometimes the other team just plays really, really well. And this was that disaster night where an off night is paired with an on night from the other team.
Yeah. Do you know who Paul Watson is? Do you know what team he plays on?
No.
He plays on the Toronto Raptors. He went 4-7 from 3 tonight.
Okay. Cool.
That's the kind of night it was.
Yeah. I was too busy watching OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam ruin my life to pay attention to what else was happening.
OG Anunoby has never had a bad game against the Nuggets. That's an actual fact.
Yeah, in case there's anyone out there who wasn't sure if that was their guy in the draft. It was.
His averages against the Nuggets over the last 6 games, 30.5 points per game, 75% shooting from 3, actually.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I'm kidding. Those are probably not his averages.
I think
that's what it feels like.
It felt like the last time he played against the Nuggets, he had 60 points and 20 steals. So yeah. I buy it.
Yeah. Anything else notable from Michael Malone or the players?
No, I just thought it was interesting and a little sobering to end with Paul. Malone's a fiery guy. He's a coach. He's going to wear all this stuff. Jokic likes to win, man. He's a frustrated loser as well. And I just thought it was interesting to hear from Paul, who had a bit more measured perspective on what was a terrible night. But those do happen sometimes.
Yeah. This was one of those nights that absolutely sucks to watch happen. It sucks to talk about, and in a week we're not going to remember it at all. That's how you've got to think about these nights.
I mean, all they have to do is play the next game well and gain some ground on the Clippers again, and it doesn't matter. I will say, we're getting closer to that point where your standings watching. You really don't want to lose much more ground. Looks like the Clippers are going to win tonight, or they did win. But you're right, Wind. If they come out and they play like they were just 2 weeks ago on Friday, then all's well that ends well.
How are you feeling just about this team right now? Because Dev and I were kind of looking ahead to the next couple of games. Dev is probably right, being more confident than I am that they're just going to take care of business against the Pelicans, take care of business against the Hawks in these next couple of games. After dropping these last 2 to the Pelicans and then the Raptors tonight, I'm a little more pessimistic that they're just going to roll and take care of business. Maybe I should be optimistic, and this team will have some renewed life after the trade deadline, and there's going to be less pressure and nobody's going to be thinking about the trades. Maybe that's what's going to happen. But how are you feeling about these next couple of games?
I mean, that was an absolute dud. But they've won 9 of 11. And so, I get where you're coming from, Wind, in terms of a lack of confidence against these teams. Wouldn't we love to see them just take care of business against New Orleans once? Just one time. I'm begging you. Look, in the grand scheme of things in the regular season, like the team we saw tonight, that's not who the Nuggets are, not even close.
Sure.
I think they'll be okay. I think they're still contending for that 4 seed, pushing for a 4 seed, maybe a 3. Friday against the Pelicans after that game, I get why you're pessimistic.
Yeah. And look, after the trade deadline passes, it could be a nice calming kind of sense that goes over the team. The guys on the roster, for the most part, know that they're going to be there for the long run.
Sure.
You know, unless Denver's like a player in the buyout market, which I don't expect them to be. But the guys who are on the team post-trade deadline, they know they're going to be here. The Nuggets know that's going to be their roster. Maybe there's just a little switch that gets flipped, and this kind of malaise that they've been in a bit over the last couple of games just goes out the window. That could happen. That very well could happen.
I mean, they could just come out and play a good game defensively, get a
Yeah.
little shot luck, big 3 plays well, we're feeling good again. It
Yeah.
doesn't take much. This team's good.
Yeah, and you weren't here for it, but the idea is, for them going forward is, with the trade deadline going tomorrow, either they make a trade, and if they do make that trade, then you know that you have new guys coming in, and you're going to try to say the old guys are gone. We're going to try to rally around our new guys, and we did this so that we can look better, so then everyone plays up. But if you don't make a trade or nothing happens, you're like, we stay pat because we believe that this is the group for us. Guys have like a sense of like urgency. They feel confident that the organization still believes in them. You get that monkey off your back that was just apparently there. And you try to rally off of that. So that was the idea with that.
Yeah, does either of those things galvanize them? And I think you could talk yourself into either path. I mean, you just have to remind yourself, like, this is not what the Nuggets season is like. This was the absolute worst case scenario. This game was horrible. They looked as bad as they're going to look. And I'm not telling you they're going to win the championship, but, you know, we don't have to burn the house down either. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on this game vote? I was going to ask you for your take on Facu's performance. The chat was asking for that.
Dude, I'm really scared too.
But,
I'll do it. I'm an adult.
Okay.
I didn't think he played well tonight because he didn't. You know, the lack of scoring is starting to rear its head a little bit. It's another one of those things, though, where all it takes is the bench has a good game. He gets 2 more steals in the fourth, a 6-assist game, and we're all raving about Facu again. So, not writing him off. It's just, you know, the last few games he hasn't really been scoring, last handful of games, and tonight it really looked like it impacted the team. So, not a great night from him, but he's not the only one.
Definitely not.
Talk about trade deadline anxiety. I think the number one guess of someone that might affect would be Will Barton, who had a horrible night.
Yeah.
Tough night from Facu, but maybe he'll rebound.
Yeah, tough night from him. Tough night from Will Barton. JaMychal Green also, I thought, actually had a couple really nice offensive rebounds that led to some second chance points, led to some extra possessions, but he just can't find the rim from 3 right now. 0 of 5 from 3 tonight. And look, he was one of those guys getting open 3-point shots, right? Like, that's what's going to happen with this Nuggets offense.
Yep.
Jokic, Murray, and Porter attract so much attention that Facu, JaMychal Green, Will Barton, Zeke Naji, like, these guys are going to get open threes. That's just what's going to happen throughout the flow of a game. It's going to be on them to knock them down.
Yeah, and we thought that JaMychal was like such a great fit, like coming in.
Yeah.
He was knocking down shots at a very, very high rate.
He was so in rhythm, dude.
Yeah, we knew that he was not going to be able to keep that up. And maybe that was fool's gold and the reason that he's still taking so many 3-point shots. But he also is still trying to play himself back into shape and part of the rotation, and that's something that we have to take into account. Didn't have a good night tonight, but we know when it counts, he's going to be ready. And also, once he gets into that zone and into that rhythm, especially with that second unit, I think that's going to be like a pretty good player and a piece that the Nuggets really were excited about, and it'll come out.
I think rhythm's the key word, man. He probably wasn't going to shoot at that clip all year, but Paul Millsap has told me this multiple times. Like, players coming back from injury, it's not necessarily getting back into shape. It's rhythm. Seeing your 3-point shot fall a couple times, and if it doesn't when you first come back from an absence, it can throw you off a little bit. So, Green's not going to shoot near 50% from 3, but I think he's going to get back to a place that's a little more reliable than he's been for sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
Adam Martis has a few things that he wants me to bring up to the screen right now.
Adam has something that he wants Allie to bring up to the screen.
We
The
got
plan.
this.
Oh,
Is this a Nathan Fielder reference?
Is everyone
Field it.
supposed to see this?
Yeah.
this
Is everyone
glorious.
supposed to see this?
I think so.
the plan? Convince Tim Connelly to trade for Lonzo Ball and Aaron Gordon by getting blown out by a team that hasn't won since February.
That is a Nathan for you plan if I've ever heard
I
it.
kind of alluded to this off the top. Vote you missed it, but I had the conspiracy hat on for a good 10 minutes to start this show off.
And then I have one more thing here. that
Oh, when
people
is
can
this
see it.
from? Oh, yeah, this is in line with
Literally 10 minutes ago.
some whispers.
Some breaking news on the Aaron Gordon front, apparently. Is this up on the screen?
Yes.
The Celtics remain engaged in Aaron Gordon, but it's the Denver Nuggets, according to league sources, according to Jake Fisher, who have now emerged as the leading candidate to acquire Gordon
The last
from
sentence, though.
Orlando, with a package centered around Gary Harris.
A package
Whoa.
around Gary.
Wow.
I would have
Whoa.
considered Gary at this point untradeable. Not because he's had adductor injuries, currently has one, and there is no timetable for a return. And he's been a tough contract. So that's surprising to me.
Was it the fourth quarter showcase of Bull that
the
pushed
9
this
minutes of Bull.
trade package potentially through?
Did you guys talk about Bull having the best 9 minutes of his life?
That's
in that
actually how
part?
we led the show off. Yeah.
Here are some of
That
the
was wild.
details that for you guys to see, and everyone in the
All good.
everyone in the chat can also see it. Nope. just
Denver's
kidding.
deal centered
Everyone
around
over there.
Gary Harris, a first-rounder, and one of Denver's younger players, RJ Hampton, Zeke Naji, and Bol seems to be gaining momentum.
And
So, go
But
ahead.
I just think this is stemming from what you called a couple days ago, which is it looks like Boston does not want to part with a second first rounder or Marcus Smart, and as a result,
Yeah.
Denver's pulling ahead here.
Sorry, go ahead, Dev.
That would suck to see Zeke Naji go, but Gary, Zeke, Hampton, and Bull for Aaron Gordon. I helped them pack their bags.
Would you rather deal RJ Hampton or Zeke Naji?
I think you'd rather deal RJ because I think other teams view him as more valuable, and B, like, there's a lot of good guards in the league, and Denver has some, but they're like trying to find the forward body type that makes sense around Jokic, and Najee might be it.
Deal and get Aaron Gordon. That's highway robbery right there.
And it's also a consolidation trade. Like a healthy Gary kind of throws a wrench in this rotation as you're trying to work it out and what it looks like. So if you get Gordon and he slots in at your small forward, that's a lot of size and athleticism. Like maybe you can get away with going Monte, Jamal, Gordon, Porter. But either way, like Gary was a bigger question mark, I think, than asset right now in terms of figuring out the rotations and what the ideal run should look like.
Yeah. If they get off of Gary Harris, who hasn't played in like a month and a half, and also who has another year on his contract for $20 million, that would be a massive win for Denver.
Yeah, and with that, you give up 4 guys, and to bring in one, you have to think one other person comes over in that, right? Like if you give up all 4 guys.
You think another player would be coming back from Orlando in that?
Yeah, at least somebody.
There probably is one body, or maybe they're not giving up all 4. I don't know what.
I'm just gonna take a little scan of Orlando's roster, and I'll tell you who I would want back or who might be coming back.
I don't know. I'm actually excited. Like that
Kim
was
Birch,
an
maybe?
exciting. That's what I was thinking. Birch
He's the one.
would be
Man,
the guy.
I think if you can do Gary, RJ, and a first for Aaron Gordon, that's a really, really good deadline move for a team like Denver. I really do.
Look, there is an opening. I firmly believe there is an opening in the Western Conference this year. There is an opening for a team like Denver or a team in the Western Conference that's going to be super aggressive at the deadline to make a move and take advantage of that opening. There is room there for the Nuggets to make a run. With how uncertain the Lakers look like now, with no LeBron, no Anthony Davis, the Clippers are the Clippers. I think the Nuggets would feel very confident going up against the Clippers in a playoff series. The same goes for the Suns. The same goes for the Jazz. There is an opening there for the Nuggets if they want to be aggressive and go get Aaron Gordon, that they can really improve their team and set themselves up as, in my opinion, in a tier that's at the Lakers and Clippers, if not very close to the Lakers and Clippers.
A day-to-day regular season whatever. Just in a fluid sense, they have the best player in the world right now. On a day-to-day basis, no one's playing better than Jokic.
Yeah.
They have Jamal Murray, who was just arguably the best player down in the bubble, one of the 5 or 6 best. So, yeah, man, you have to feel like you're that team. You just said there's a team that can seize this. I think Denver should view themselves as that team, man.
Right.
I really do.
And the Nuggets have to look at this like, look, the Lakers look like they're trying to upgrade the roster, like at this trade deadline. They're going to try to get Andre Drummond. They're going to try to make moves to upgrade their roster. The Nuggets, in my opinion, have to look at that and say, if they're trying to upgrade, we got to try to upgrade as well. We've got to make one move that says we're going for it this year.
I just don't understand why you guys. I need to calm myself down. I don't need.
Yeah,
to
you're
get
excited over there.
Don't need to get
Don't
my
get us
hopes up.
canceled.
But
either.
if you have either Bo, R.J. Hampton, or Zeke with Gary and a first, just one of them, I'm gonna give that up so fast. Like everything.
No, yeah,
about,
for sure.
That's gonna be so easy for me, and it's. You're not like getting rid of like your core or anything like that. You're getting rid of a guy that hasn't played that much, that we haven't really seen this year. Really good player, but you're also getting back a really good player. And you didn't have to give up the entire house for it. Like that would be something like if they're in the lead with that, I would add other things in just try to sweeten it. I would do as much as I can if that's all I have to give up.
Would you throw in like a 12-pack of Mile High City Copper Lager?
Maybe like a Tyler Lydon practice jersey.
Yeah, especially
Sweeten
the
deal.
practice
Signed,
jersey.
autographed.
And a picture of Vlatko's calf muscle. We'll do that too.
A man after my own heart over here.
If the Nuggets believe Aaron Gordon is that guy, if they're as high on him, I mean, look, I don't even think the Nuggets are like jumping for joy over Aaron Gordon. I don't think they're super high on him. I think they like him and that he's a piece that fits and makes them a better team. If they are believers in Aaron Gordon, that's a deal you probably have to do.
And, I just saw some comments that said, like, you're trying to leverage the future for Gordon. I mean, the future is now. It's Jokic, MPJ, and Murray. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you get anything from Zeke, RJ, that's wonderful. Sprinkles, found money. But if you can turn that found money into a guy that helps you make a deep playoff run, again, I think they really have to consider that. Have to do it, really.
Honestly, none of those guys are part of the future. You have
none of those guys are part of the present, aside from Zeke Naji on some nights.
And they have a big three. That's literally the future. Like, you don't think about anyone else besides those three. You add a guy for right now who's a really good player. That's something that I would do. Yes, it would suck to see, like, the players go, but that's a part of every single trade that happens.
Yeah.
You're going to get rid of a guy that you already have like endear in your heart, and you have these moments, but you're making the team better. And we're, you guys, like, everyone is fans of the Nuggets, and you want the Nuggets to like be successful and at their best, and they're going to be at their best if they make those type of trades, because like we've seen that it hasn't been working, and those guys are not actually playing right now. So you have to make a move right now, especially with this very, very small window that the Nuggets are in.
In my opinion, I would probably put Hampton in the deal.
Me too.
I would probably put Hampton in the deal. I'm a Zeke Naji believer. I'm in the Zeke Naji cult. I'm a believer. I think he's going to be a very good player for a long, long time.
And by the way, I'm picking Hampton over Bol because I'm skeptical that New Orleans values Bol. I have no idea. It just seems to me like Hampton's the guy that gets that deal done.
You wouldn't think Bol is at the same level as Hampton and Naji.
Right. I mean, look,
I wouldn't think, at least. Maybe John Hammond.
Maybe a team can
thinks
talk
differently.
themselves into that. The thing about Bol is that he is immensely talented. What he did in those Oregon games was nuts. Everyone in this organization actually was excited about Bol. That was all real. Mm-hmm. I think the intangible stuff, it's like in the negatives for him, and that's a real issue. But there is conceivably a team that could talk themselves into seeing value in a 7-foot forever person that can shoot.
Yeah.
I just love that everyone wants to add Barton. I just love it.
They didn't even ask for
him.
him.
He's not even part of it. They didn't ask for him. Maybe they don't like him just as much as you guys don't like him. So, like, that doesn't get it done. But I love the fact that it's like, no, please add him to it also.
To reiterate, if you're just jumping in, we're talking about a Gary package because this is an actual rumor coming from Jake Fisher that the Nuggets have emerged as favorites in the deal.
Yeah. One day the Nuggets fan base will give Will Barton his proper respect and due.
It'll be after he's long gone.
Yeah, it's not going to be tonight, which is okay. He didn't have a good game
Yeah,
tonight.
he didn't earn it
one
tonight.
day, one day this fan
I'm not gonna
base will
fight with
give
anyone
him
tonight,
the respect he's due. Well, it's probably going to be a long night for us, but I think that's where we'll end the show. Again, I don't think a trade's going to happen tonight. As I said on the pregame show, I think if an Aaron Gordon trade gets done, it happens very close to tomorrow's deadline. And good news for you guys watching. We will be back live tomorrow, 12 p.m. Mountain Time, until after the trade deadline, which is at 1 p.m. We'll be going live from the lounge right from this set to react to all the trades that come through in the final moments leading up to the deadline at 1 o'clock. We're going live at 12. It's going to be me, Brendan Vogt. I think Eric Weedham, D-Line, is going to stop by. Also, Andre Simone. You probably know him from DNVR
Dr.
Bets,
Dread.
from DNVR Broncos.
Best, isn't he?
He is going to be on with us as well for our trade deadline special. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock Mountain Time. That's when we're going live. We'll talk to you guys then.
Love